Today I will be talking about the research study on how animals remember previous facial expressions that specific humans have exhibited, written by Leanne Apropos, Kate Grounds, Amy Victoria Smith, and Karen McComb. It is a well-known fact that humans can remember facial expressions as it's a social cue. For animals, though, it's unknown as to whether they can remember these social cues. For this study, the researchers took a group of horses to examine this mystery, which is a motivator for conducting this study, for no one has done research on whether animals can form these long-lasting memories of certain people just by looking at facial expressions and social cues. To test their hypothesis that animals can remember facial expressions from a single interaction with a certain person, the researchers took 21 horses. They put horses through a training phase and a testing phase. During the training phase, the horses were led into a stall and were given 2 minutes to explore the stall by themselves. Then, a presenter would come into the stall with pictures of a happy face or an angry face. They used 2 different models throughout the study. They started with the picture about 1 meter away from the horse, and the person handling the horse loosely held the lead rope about 1.5 meters away from the horse while not facing the pictures. Then, the presenter would move the pictures closer to the horse at about 10 centimeters and let the horse gaze at them. These training phases were done twice for 20 seconds. The end of the training phase then consisted of the horse being led around the stall for an additional 2 minutes before being taken out of the stall. The testing phase involved 2 20-second periods, which were repeated twice, where the horse, depending on the group it was in, was introduced to a live model. The horses in the experimental group were introduced to the same model they saw in the photos, while the horses in the control condition saw the other model. The live model wore neutral facial expression in order to test the horse's memory. In analyzing the data, the researchers looked into how attentive the horse was to the pictures and whether they had a left or right gaze bias. A left or right gaze bias is when their head is turned to the left or right more than 15 degrees. They also measured displacement behaviors. Displacement behaviors note whether the horses were experiencing a level of stress. Examples of this will be demonstrated later on in the video. When looking at the right gaze bias, as noted in the figure, the test condition was found to have a significant result when looking at the happy facial expression, but not when looking at the angry face. Right gaze bias is an outcome of pro-social stimuli being processed in the left hemisphere. The control group didn't show a significant result towards either expression. A right gaze bias will be shown through the horse looking at the stimuli with its right eye with its head turned to the left. Looking at the time spent with a left gaze bias, as noted in the figure, the test condition showed a significant result when looking at the angry facial expression, but not when looking at the happy facial expression. Left gaze bias is an outcome of potential threats being processed in the right hemisphere. The control group didn't show a significant result towards either expression. A left gaze bias will be shown by the horse looking at the stimuli with their left eye with its head turned to the right. The final graph discusses the time spent participating in displacement behaviors. The test condition showed a significant result with displacement behavior when they were introduced to the angry facial expression, but as with the other graphs, the control condition had no significant result. Displacement behaviors involve sniffing the floor, licking and chewing, scratching, and dilation of the nostrils. Overall, they found that horses and other animals have the ability to remember the interaction and social cues of a certain person even after only one interaction.
In this paper, we learned that some animals, specifically horses, have the ability to form long-lasting memories from a single interaction and social cues from a specific person. The researchers did discuss that the horses could have learned this behavior from being among humans for an extensive period of time, or it could be innate. Thanks for watching!